Oh, the difference between writing for TV and writing novels in terms of the actual practice. For one thing, in a lot of ways, writing for TV was a lot more fun. And the reason it was more fun was because there were other people around. By comparison, writing a novel is a bit lonely, so that when I start thinking about lunch, I think about who can I go have lunch with today so I'm not alone anymore. Having said all that, and why I write novels and don't write scripts anymore, is that if I could be high-minded for half a second, I think there is a certain moral purpose to to anyone's life as a writer. And I think it's easy for that to get compromised in a grossly commercial atmosphere. My typical writing day is Monday through Friday, 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, after which I go to lunch. Now, that's theoretical. In reality, I get down there maybe 9:30, I check my email. The clock says 10 o'clock and I'm still checking my email or whatever. I finally get at it, my mind wanders, I go back and check my email. The phone rings, it's, somebody selling low interest mortgages. I go back to writing, my mind wanders again, and sometime, typically around 11:30, I have a decent thought. And maybe for about an hour from that 11:30, I'm pretty good. Things happen, and maybe I get a bunch of words down, and some of them sound pretty good, or maybe after an hour I think they're terrible, but then maybe I keep going. And at some point in there, I will go back and see what I've already written and see if I like any of it, first of all, but then second of all, try to improve whatever it is, try and make whatever it is appear to make the day of work worthwhile. The biggest emotion I have is, this really sucks, I hate this. When I'm satisfied with something, I have a feeling of overall well-being and I think relief that I don't have to worry about this for the next 24 hours. Something good is there and I'll come back to it. And where do characters come from? Good question. Mine, I think, come from little bits, stuff that sticks, stuff that somehow is stuck in my memory or mind. It could be tiny little things, little anecdotes, little things you see. I sort of remember John Cheever once writing something about some girl he saw sitting on the sidelines at a lacrosse game at Dartmouth. I may start with a tiny little thing like that and wake up every morning and do a little more, and pretty soon I seldom start with a character whole. The role of the novel today, I think it's kind of like poetry used to be. I think novels are the new poems in terms of the degree of acceptance in American society, the degree of interest in American society. There are people who are passionate for the novel still. There are people who are passionate for poetry still. Their numbers probably have dwindled. If the sales of serious fiction are any indication, it's certainly dwindled. And of course, it's directly related to the demands on our time. I mean, the novels I admire most in the 20th century, I'd start with Proust, for the language, for the immense capacity to turn almost anything, any object, beautifully into what it resembles, and make it richer thereby. I can remember in college, when I was young, reading a still young Updike and thinking he had the same gift. But I hadn't read actually Proust yet, and when I did, there was no comparison. Also, for the capacity to describe a society in whole. I think that that is one of the great obligations of fiction, not necessarily met in our time. I've made my own little efforts, but do I think in an era in which so much of our culture is spit out from a money machine of one kind or another, that to have people out there trying to actually portray what life was like in our culture in our time is a meritorious thing to do. Somebody would follow my footsteps as a novelist. Well, I wouldn't follow my footsteps. I'd follow one's own footsteps and see where they lead. Really, the only way the novel as a form will prosper going forward is by people continuing to take chances with it, continuing to believe in it by their own lights. What's important about the book to them, important enough that they can probably give up a lot of other crap in life in order to do it. Or if you're lucky, otherwise, if you're lucky, it may just fall out of your mind one morning and be on the laptop by noon. But that's not bloody likely, is it?